A Singaporean adventurer has recently made his third attempt at scaling the world's fourth highest peak. Lhotse shares the same base camp as Mount Everest. 57-year-old Khoo Swee Chiow was one of over 100 who received climbing permits for Lhotse this year. He came close to the peak, but by a twist of fate was forced to descend. He has gotten back to Singapore just days ago, and he is joining us now while serving out his 21-day quarantine in a hotel. Welcome, Mr. Khoo. First off, what made you embark on this trip despite the pandemic raging?
Well, I spoke to many friends in Nepal and other parts of the world about, the situation over there. Some said okay, some are not sure. So it's a 50-50 thing. And I decided to go after I got my vaccine. And so I took some calculated risk.
All right, calculated risk. Let's look back and recount exactly the steps that got you there. Well, you left Singapore on the 23rd of April, and that was just a week after your COVID-19 vaccination. You arrived at the Everest Base Camp on the 1st of May and then proceeded to camps that were higher up for further acclimatization before the summit push. Now, we understand that's when you started coughing out blood and yellow phlegm. And it is also around that time when we started hearing reports of other sick climbers having to be evacuated, raising fears that COVID-19 had hit the mountain. Mr. Khoo, describe for us what the situation was like, where you were, and what was going through your mind at that point.
Yeah, it was a lot of concern for me. A lot of people were coughing around me at base camp, at Camp 1, Camp 2. So you're not sure whether it is the mountain air, the dry air that causes the cough, the high altitude effect, or could it be COVID? So I was very worried. And even at one point in time, I called my sponsor and said, hey, maybe it is safer for me to come home. But there was no flight home, so it's safer to stay in the mountain and continue the expedition.
And that is indeed what you did, because you did eventually stay on, but you had to sort of change your plans for the trek to the summit twice, I believe, because of bad weather. What was it that spurred you to continue despite all those bad conditions?
Yeah, this season's weather is unusually bad. Very long spell of snow and high wind due to the two cyclones, unfortunately. Well, this is my third attempt, so my goal is to get to the summit, as safely as I can. So I hang on and I continue. Yeah.
You have indeed previously successfully, in fact, climbed 3 of the highest peaks. We've got Everest 3 times, Mount K2 and Kanchenjunga. What is it about Lhotse that makes it difficult compared to these other 3 mountains that you've scaled, or different?
I think climbing mountains has a lot of factors involved, especially, 8,000-meter peaks. You have the weather on that particular day when you go to the summit. And even before that, the weather, 1 week, leading up to the summit will affect the summit day as well. If it's a lot of snow like what I had, then there will be deep snow. And then you have people around you, your Sherpa, you have the rope. So many factors will affect the outcome of the summit push. For Lhotse is a harder peak compared to Everest. It's steeper, more technical. And when you have steep terrain and then you add very soft snow, deep snow, it's a very dangerous climb. Yeah.
Or I understand the steepness and just the danger surrounding it. But ultimately, you did indeed push to that summit on the 1st of June. And you managed to get as high as 8,020 meters. That's just over 490 meters shy of the Lhotse peak and about 300 meters below your last attempt. But then we heard that you and other climbers had to turn back because the rope that was leading to the summit was buried by 4 days of of heavy snow. For those of us who are not familiar with that situation, why is the rope so important? And, why did you not take that risk to make that last dash, so-called, to the finishing line?
Jill, 400 or 500 meters sounds, very short at sea level, but at 8,000 meter, it's a completely different ball game. It's many, many hours of climbing still. So firstly, without the rope, the rope is your lifeline, right? Without the rope, it's like free climbing. And, for Lhotse, it's very steep. So one slip and you're gone. And also my previous attempt in 2016 when the one Sherpa, fell and then fell to his death. So that memory was still, very fresh in my mind. So when we reached the point, 8,000 meter, when the rope kind of disappeared into the deep snow, I knew, it's not going to happen this time again. Yeah. So basically, I told my Sherpa, it's not worth taking that risk. And let's come down.
Well, we're happy that you are back safe and sound, carrying out your quarantine right now. We want to thank you so much for joining us. We've been listening to Singapore adventurer Khoo Swee Chiow sharing with us the highs and lows of his adventure.